Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining us for our third video. And today we're having a wonderful chat with, who are we having the chat with? We're having that chat with Nicola Langford of Macmillan Education. And Macmillan has been a wonderful partner with us here at Easy Click Books. And it was a real pleasure meeting with Nicola. And you get to see our interview with her and get to learn more about Macmillan Education and their role in our education system here in St. Lucia. So without any further ado, here's Nicola. Hello everyone, Vadanja here with Easy Click Books, and we'd like to welcome you once again to another discussion with one of our publishers. And today we have the pleasure of meeting Nicola.
That's right.
Yes, Nicola, sorry. This is our first time meeting, and she's from Macmillan Publishing. And welcome.
Thank
How are
you.
you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. And how has your experience been so far in St. Lucia?
Fantastic, as always. I love coming to St. Lucia. Everyone's always so welcoming, and we publish quite a lot of titles that are used here in St. Lucia, so it's always good to come and see what everyone thinks about them.
All right. And what's your role with Macmillan Education?
So I'm the sales manager for Macmillan Caribbean, which is a part of Macmillan Education. The Caribbean division has been publishing for the Caribbean specifically for over 60 years. So we're very committed to the region.
Oh, okay, that's great. And yes, because I know from growing up in school and so on, many of the books that I use were published by Macmillan. And I see today you have a few books there with you that you would like to tell us about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Titles.
So we're very proud to have a long-standing relationship with CAMDU, the Curriculums and Materials Development Unit here in St. Lucia. We've worked with them for a number of years and published the primary language arts series that the CAMDU team and teachers work together to produce.
The Andy and Rose books?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
And we've actually recently moved away from that series and have revised the course, and it's now been published in a new form called CANDU, which we're very proud of. It's a lot more interactive, it's very colourful, it has lots of fantastic illustrations. We took a long time looking for the kind of illustrations that would appeal to the children so that they're engaged. The layout stimulating so that they can really enjoy using the books in the classroom. These books we have from grade K through to 6, and there's a student book which you can see here, and then there's also a write-in workbook so the students can take these home and do homework at home as well.
I love the bright colors and so on that it has.
Yes, it's fabulous.
Yes, my son, who is in grade K, yes, he loves coming home and loves going through the Candy books because they're always so bright and so illustrative. Yes, so that's a big plus as far as the Candy books are concerned.
That's absolutely great to hear, because that's what we want. We want the children to be engaged and to really want to use the books. And so we spend a lot of time making sure we have the right kind of content, and particularly in the lower grade books that the pictures engage and the characters who appear throughout, like the parrot pointing, actually grab the students' attention and make them want to use the books.
Yes, very good. Yes, and as you mentioned, there's also the workbook too. That complements the student book.
It does.
So whatever is done in here, there are activities and so on, which is part of keeping them engaged.
Absolutely.
You know, not just a case whereby it's only being read out to them or they're only reading certain things, but they're more engaged in that they get into practice what they learned in the student book.
Exactly. We've also got here some copies of Bright Ideas. Bright Ideas is our primary science course. It's been used in St. Lucia for a number of years now. When it was first introduced, we spent some time training the teachers here, so in association with the science subject officer from CANDU, we did some workshops so that the teachers could understand exactly what material was in the books and would then be able to make the most of that material and ensure that, you know, all of the children were really engaged in the classroom. We like to do that wherever we can because it's always good to help. So again, as with Can Do, Bright Ideas has a student book and then a workbook. The student book actually comes now with an interactive CD, which has lots of experiments and different things on, so the students can really engage, and lots of extra material for them to use. It's a very practical book. There's lots of examples of experiments that the students can do, and all of the content we try to pull from the everyday lives of students so that it's all very, very relevant to what they do.
But for many of the other subjects, you would find that many of the teachers go and they get supplementary books. But what I find is, as far as science, especially in the lower levels, almost about all of the schools just stick to the Bright Ideas.
Yes,
you can tell that they've been trained on it and that they're very comfortable with the content within these particular books.
Absolutely. We get very good reports on Bright Ideas. I think the students like it and I think the teachers like it. So it's really good to be able to bring science to life, I think, and that's what these books try to do, hopefully.
Oh, great. And I think finally you have one other book here.
I've got one more book here. We have a number of books that are used in St Lucia on the secondary list. But one of our series is Dime, which is a Spanish series. So we have 3 student books and 3 workbooks that are used at lower secondary. And then we also have a CSET level textbook and workbook that are used in the upper secondary forms. Again, Dime, this has lots of practice. All of the grammar is highlighted as you go through in colour-coded boxes. It has a audio CD in the back, which allows you to be able to go through and actually learn how the pronunciation should be and how you should sound. So we have a lot of good feedback on these as well.
Yes. I don't think that one was available back in my day. Maybe that's why I didn't do.
Is that why you do in Spanish?
Yeah, I didn't do well in Spanish at all.
I think it's really appealing, and it grabs everyone's attention, but it has a lot of practice, and we know that for language, practice is key.
Yes.
And on our website, we also have copies of the audio script so that you can read and go along with what's on the CD at the same time, and they can just be downloaded for free.
Oh, wow. Okay, so here you have 3 resources available to you at the Macmillan website. That is Macmillan.
Is www.macmillan-caribbean.com.
Ah, okay. So make a note of that. We should have it somewhere down here, I think, somewhere. And speaking of study resources, in speaking to you earlier, you mentioned something about CXC past papers. That's one of the big requests that we get. So you mentioned about the work that Macmillan does with CXC and getting the CXC past papers available.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So we have a partnership with CXC where Macmillan publish hard copy print books of the CSEC past papers. They can be purchased and have usually 3 years worth of past papers in. So the current batch have past papers for each CSEC subject, and they're from 2013 to 2015. But we also have a collaboration with CXC for online material as well. That's called the CXC store. And on there you can buy ebook versions of the past papers.
Right.
And within there you have up to, well, if the subject was offered in 2005, then we have papers from 2005 onwards. And on the CXC store we also have CAPE past papers. And CAPE past papers, can't be purchased because they're not produced in print form for revision purposes. So they can be accessed through the CXC store as well, as can all of CXC's free resource materials. So for example, the syllabi and the mark schemes and the subject reports, they're all on the CXC store as
that's
well.
wonderful. So for those of you who would be having children in Form 4, Form 5, the CXC store would be a great place to go. Again, we'll have the website somewhere here. I'm not too sure where exactly. I'd just like to say thank you, Nicola, for sharing this wonderful information with us. And it's always a pleasure to work with Macmillan and to know of the wonderful things that Macmillan is doing, not only in St. Lucia, but within the Caribbean. So hopefully we'll get to meet again.
I hope so. Thank you. It was lovely to meet you.
And just say bye to Easy QuickBooks family.
Bye, Easy QuickBooks family.
All right, welcome back, folks. This was our interview with Nicola. I hope that you learned a lot, and she had some very important links that she gave, which could really help persons, especially those who would be sitting CXC and so on. And see you next time for our next video. Thank you.